Okay, Dr. Kasana, welcome you again, sir, and
Thank you.
best wishes for today's session, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
All the participants will have quiz today at 7 p.m. We'll share a Google link for quiz at 7 p.m. So have patience for that. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Kasana.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks. Welcome you all in this lecture. Today's topic is a Bayesian classifier, and this classifier is also based on probabilistic model, but we use different type of probability. That is the conditional probability. So I will discuss some points related to the probability. So these are the some points related to this Bayesian classifier. It is a probabilistic model. And the next important point, it is a supervised machine learning algorithm. So we need a labeled data to train the model of Bayesian classifier. And the third point is it is fast and easy to implement. So you just need to find out the probability and then do some calculation to implement the Bayesian classifier in any of the language. And the third important point related to this Bayesian classifier, that it is naive in nature. So we have a naive means it has you can say it has no experience type, and whatever assumption we make for this classifier, that is a naive type. Okay, in the next 2 or 3 slides, I will tell you what I mean by this, why we use this word naive for this Bayesian classifier. Just wait for 5 to 10 minutes for this purpose. Okay. Next is the types of the naive-based classifier. We have 3 types of naive-based classifier. One is the multi-nominal based naive-based classifier. Just wait. Okay. So for the first multinomial classifier, we have the for the first type of the naive-based classifier, we need a data with discrete features. Just like if we need to count the words in our text. So if we start counting some words, for example, if we have a text data as the input and we want to know how many m is there in our data, right? So if we need this type of counting, then we can use this multi-nominal based classifier. Okay, you can say this is the we need the numeric information, this digit type information having more than 1 or 2 occurrences, then we need multi-nominal type classifier. And the second type is the Bernoulli based classifier. In this classifier, if the output features are Boolean type, then we can use this Bernoulli classifier. And the third type of the Gaussian based classifier, in this classifier the dependent feature take up a continuous value, and these values are sampled from the Gaussian distribution. It means if your data follows the Gaussian distribution, then you can use this third type of the classifier. Okay, I will start with the basic points related to the probability, and you know what we mean by probability. Probability is a function which gives us the occurrence of some particular event. For example, if I am interested in event A, then probability will be a number getting by this ratio. So we have the favorable cases divided by total number of cases. This is a very simple definition of probability. So we'll get a number between 0 to 1, right? Okay, if the probability is 0, it means you can say the event is impossible, and if the probability is 1, it means the event is sure event, you can say. Just like if today is Tuesday, then tomorrow will be Wednesday. So it is a sure event, right? It is sure event. And if I say that tomorrow will be Friday, that is not possible, right? So in a probability, each event is may not be affected by some of the events. Okay, that type of event is the independent event. For this purpose, we have taken an example of tossing a coin. If we have a coin and we want to toss it, then this type of the event, you can call it as an independent event, because each toss of your coin is a perfectly isolated thing. You have this coin, you toss it one time, again you toss it, again you toss it, again you toss it. So all these events, they are independent, right? The output of one event is not affecting the output of the another event. This type of the events are the independent events. Okay, so you technically you can say, if the current state is not dependent on the previous state, okay, then your event will be independent type event. Right? So this example is the independent event. And now we have the another type of category of events, that is a dependent event. The events will be dependent only when they can be affected by the previous events, right? If your state of the event, some state is dependent on the previous state or states, then you can say the event is of dependent category. For this purpose, I have taken a simple example. We have a bag, and in this bag we have 5 balls, and 2 balls are blue colored ball, and the 3 balls are red balls. So we have one point. What are the chances of getting a green ball? Sorry, it is wrongly typed here. So the chances, we have 2. Again, it should be blue. Sorry for this one. So we have 2 blue balls. So favorable cases for the blue balls are 2, and total cases are 5. 2 plus 3, 5. Right. So next time, if we want to get a ball before this one, then the chance of blue ball will be 2 in 4. And okay, so if we draw one ball, and we are interested in drawing the another ball from the bag, so there are the condition now. So total balls are 4, because we have picked up the one ball, and if we picked up a red ball first, and then there are the chances of picking the blue ball, they are 2 by 4 now for the second case. And if we got a blue ball, then the chances of the red ball will be 1 by 4, because previously if we have taken blue ball, then blue will be we have only a single blue ball left here, right? So you can say this is my second draw, and this was my first draw. So we are using the concept of not replacement. We are just picking up the ball and not putting it back in the bag. Okay, so these are the 4 now in place of 5, and these are the 2 cases here. So this is my first case for the second event, and this is my second case. Let's go ahead in this direction. We have the concept of the replacement. If we replace the ball in the bag, then the chances do not change. And because we are replacing the ball again, we are picking the ball from the bag and putting it back. So the number of balls will be 5 only. And if we are not putting it back, then we have the concept of without replacement. And whenever we have the case of this without replacement, so the events are dependent, because number of chances are changing. Why? How they are changing? Because previously we have 5 balls, and now we have 4 balls. After picking one ball, we have left with 4-1 only. Okay, so you can say if we have the dependent events with then we have the concept of the replacement, without replacement. And in case of the with replacement, the events will be independent. Okay, so for this type of the example, you can attach one point of replacement. If the replacement is there, then the event will be independent only. And if we have the concept of without replacement, then our events will be dependent. Okay. Right. Let's take another. Let's represent this problem in the form of a tree. So this is our original bag. We picked up a blue ball. So picking up the chances of the blue balls are 2 by 5 and the chances of red ball are 3 by 5. And we are not replacing the ball. Okay. So we can represent the probability model in the form of tree data structure. Okay, so let's go ahead further. Here, if we want to pick up the blue ball, then the chances of the blue ball are 1 by 4 only. And here, if we want to pick up red ball, the chances are 3 by 4. You can say this is the probability here, and this is the probability of red ball. And for this case, if we picked up in the first step the red one, then in the second stage of this tree, the chances of blue ball is 2 by 4 and the chances of red ball is by chance 2 by 4 again. Okay, so let's find out this query. What are the chances of drawing 2 balls continuously? Okay, so from this tree you can find out this chance. Basically, this is our original bag, and we are interested in the blue balls only, 2 blue balls without replacement. So the probability of first blue ball is 2 by 5 and the probability of the second blue ball is 1 by 4. So what we have to do, we have to multiply these probability. 2 by 4 into 1 by 8, that 1 by 4, that is 1 by 10 only. So by using this tree data structure, you can find out the probability of these dependent events very easily. Okay, is this one okay? This is the same thing basically. So now what we are doing basically, if we have this condition, we have previously picked up this blue ball, and then we are interested in the probability of again blue ball. So you can say now we have the concept of conditional probability here. We have the condition. You can observe this. We want to have this condition and then this event. So this type of events are the conditional events. Okay. So from this tree, what we can find out, this is the part of the tree. So we want of A and B. These A and B are the events basically. One event is A event and this is the second event. Okay. So you can name it as A, you can name it as a B. So if we are interested in probability of A and B, what we need to find out, this probability and the probability of B when A is given. Because to find out that the probability of the second event, we have to follow this path only. So this probability is the conditional probability, because what we want the probability of this event B when A event has already happened. Okay. Right. So I have one question to the participants. I have a deck of cards and I want to draw 2 queens. The event A is drawing the queen number 1 and the event B is drawing the queen number 2. So what is the probability? Anju, we will discuss your question when we will take the break, please. What is this? Right. So first chances are there. The probability of getting the first queen is 4/52 and the probability of getting the second queen is 3/51. Okay, because we have the case of without replacement. It's okay. Something number, whatever it will be, what you can calculate is basically. Okay, so let's start the new topic. So we have defined the conditional probability. I am again revising the definition of this one. Probability of event B when event A has already happened. Okay, so if we are interested in the chance of this event B when A has happened, that probability is the conditional probability. We have the condition associated here. So there are some points related to this conditional probability, and it is defined in this way also: probability of A intersection B divided by probability of A, with the condition that probability of A should not be 0. It should be greater than 0. If it will be 0, then the conditional probability will be undefined. Okay, that is a very simple one. Okay, and if this is the, we can represent it in this form also, just by simplifying the expression. Okay, and if A and B, these two events are the independent events, then you can say the conditional probability of B with respect to A is the B itself, probability of B itself, because for the independent events, this A union B, probability of A intersection B to their multiplication, and A will be cancelled out from this one. So the conditional probability of B when A is given in case of these independent events is the probability of B itself only. Okay. So I have one question, a very simple one. If 70% of your friends like pizza and 35% of your friends like pizza and cold drink. Okay, right? So what percentage of those who like pizza also like cold drink? Who like pizza? This is the first event basically. So you want to find out the probability of your friends who like cold drink, but initially firstly they like pizza also. So this is the conditional event basically. This is our A and this is my B. Okay, and this is the data given in the question. So probability of pizza and cold drink is 35%, that is 0.35. Probability of pizza is 0.7. Okay, so we are interested in this one. So we can find it out, probability of this and this divided by probability of this pizza, right? Probability of event A. So 35, and we will get this number. It means 50% of your friends, they like cold drink when they like pizza. Who like pizza? There are the 50% chances that they will also like cold drink. So this type of the problems you can solve with the help of the conditional probability concept. So if we have more than two events, we have A, B, and C. Then we will find it out by using this expression. This is the generalization of this probability basically. The probability of A into probability of B by A into probability of C when A and B both have happened. So you can generalize this one. And this is for the event of n probability. We have the n events basically, A1, A2, An, and so you can generalize this in this way. So there are some axioms associated with the conditional probability, because conditional probability is the probability itself, right? Just like our probability satisfies many axioms, so it is required to satisfy the axioms. So the first axiom which is satisfied by the conditional probability, that it is also greater than or equal to 0. And the conditional probability of B with respect to B is one only, which we calculated mathematically in the previous slides. And if we have this A1, A2, An events, then we can write it in this form. A is the event on which these B1, B2 and Bn are dependent. So we can write this form here. Okay, and we have some special cases also. Before going into the details of the naive cases, these are the very simple type of the cases. Case one is when A and B are disjoint. If A and B are disjoint, then their intersection will be empty, and the probability of A will be probability of B given A will be 0. Okay, and when B is the subset of A, B is the subset of A. So A intersection B will be B only. So we will get this type of expression. And when A is the subset of B, it is inverse of this one. Then the A intersection B will be A only, and it is the 1. Probability, conditional probability is 1 in this case. Is it okay? Okay, let's start with the Bayes theorem. This is the mathematical expression for the Bayes theorem. We will use this Bayes theorem to develop the Bayesian model. So what this theorem gives to us, it tells us the conditional probability of event A of event B with respect to the event A. So we need the conditional probability of A with respect to B first, and the probability of B as well as probability of A. And this is the multiplication. So we will multiply these two probability and will divide by this probability of A. So you can match it with this one and here to here, just to remember it. So let's try another question. Are you getting this question? Just read this one and tell me. So we have the data of 100 people who attended the party, and we want to find out the data how many wear mask or not, and if a man and he is a man or not, and we are interested in this number. Okay, so from this one, from this table, we can find out the probability of man is how many men we have? 40 men we have. 40 men we have, right? And how women? 60. There is a majority of the women in this party. You can find out this information like this one. So probability of mask is 35 by 100. Total number is 100. 60 plus 40, that is 100. Okay, right. And probability of men who have the mask. Okay, so it is men 10 by 40. You can use this row to find this number, and we are interested in this conditional probability. We are interested in the probability of men so that they have the mask. Okay, so we can use this expression, probability of mask into probability of mask by man. It means man with respect to the man you are interested in this probability, divided by probability of mask. This is your Bayesian theorem basically. These two definitions are inverse to each other. Here we have the man as the conditional probability, here we have the mask as the conditional probability. So by multiplying this one, we get this probability. Is it okay? This numerical is okay.
चौधरी साहब repeat कर दो एक बार.
Okay, sir. Okay. So we have the data of 100 persons who attended the party, and we have one attribute associated with those persons, whether they have the mask or not, because the time is of COVID. So this type of the data we may be interested for some type of particular problems. Okay. So from this table we can find the probability of man because in question we have the query related man's query only. So probability of man will be men's are 40 and total persons are 100. So probability of man is 40 by 100, and the probability of mask is, for this mask we have to follow this column only. Total masks are 35 and probability of mask is 35 by 100. Okay, so we have given this conditional probability. Out of 40 men, only 10 have the mask. Okay. This conditional probability you can find out directly by using this data, right? So the issue will be whenever we will not have any data, basically, right? So Ankush, how you have written this 0.285? Just it again. So
Sir, probability
yes,
of
yes.
mask upon men is 0.25. So multiplying it with the 0.4 is 1, and dividing it by 0.35 gives us 0.28.
Let me to check my calculation. Maybe wrong, but let me to check it. It is not 1, it is 0.05, yeah. It is not 1 basically. 0.4 into 0.125 is 0.05, and we need to divide it by 0.35. It is my answer is correct, your is wrong.
सर
Yes, yes.
सर आंसर 10/35 नहीं होना चाहिए अकॉर्डिंग टू टेबल.
No, we have the condition also. Na, it may be that some have mask also. See, this is the, you are interested when mask is already there. So there may be some women who have the mask. See, it is the this is first event, na, and this event is dependent on this one only. So for the conditional probability, you have to check this complete data, probability of mask. Because some women also have the mask and some men also have the mask, so you cannot directly calculate this one, because you have the data of mask only. You have to pick up this condition first. You cannot directly use this. Oh, is it okay? So firstly you need to find out this probability. You cannot directly calculate it.
Sir,
Okay.
sir, probability of mask upon men 0.125 लिखा है, इसलिए शायद.
Okay, it is the due to this difference. Sorry for this one. Then you may be right one. Okay, this is the mistake here. Right. Then you can change it. But the point is, if we are interested in this probability, what we need to do, we have to find out the probability of mass. Right? You cannot directly pick it up in this way, because this is the conditional probability. Conditional probability, you cannot directly use this one. You have to dependent on this first event, then you can find it out, this first type of the event, which is man in this case. So probability of man when mask is already there. Right? Is it okay? Let me to give some other data also. Okay. So I have told you about this model, Bayesian model, Bayesian theorem. Probability of B by A will be calculated in this way. Probability of A by probability of A when B has already happened into probability of B divided by probability of A. Okay.
Sir, how we are deciding event A and event B in the last?
See, no. You have to go into the definition, because we are interested how many mask is already there, and you are interested in the percentage of men. You have, this is your conditional, this is the first event basically, wearing of the mask. And then जो आपकी statement में second part है, that will be this here. I can give some other example also of this type. From that one, it may be you get the point more easily. We see we have the data of wearing the mask, and from that data we want to find out how many men have the mask. So we are interested in this probability only. So you can say you are interested from this subset of the persons who have the mask, not from this complete set. Complete set से simple probability आएगी. But now you have the condition of wearing the mask. So you have a, you can say now you have a subset of the complete set, and from that subset you need to fetch the percentage. You need to detect the probability value, and for this purpose you are fully dependent on Bayesian theorem. After the break I will give some other example of same type basically. Okay, now in machine learning applications, what will be our this B and A? This our A will be the output feature. For example, if I write in this way, probability of B such that A has happened, we want to find out. So what will be our A? A will be the output feature or the target feature, or you can say dependent variable. And this B will be the combination of independent features. Okay, and we will use the training data to find out the conditional probability. This will be our target. And in general, what we will be doing for this type of the classification, we have this model. We will pass input data, you can say training data, and this is the data testing data, you can say, and we will get the output from this training data. So we need two type of things as the normal models also, but we will use the conditional probability to find out the chances that this event belong to this class or that class. So these are some assumptions for the Naive-Bayes model, that each feature is independent. You can say this feature is independent itself. You can say this is the assumption that each of the feature is independent, and each of the feature is contributing equally to the output. So these are two assumptions, that each of your input feature is independent and each feature contributes equally in the output, right? But for the general data, for the real-time applications, most of the data doesn't follow these two assumptions. So due to this reason, we call that the data, this model is naive model. These are the assumptions, but most of the data, they don't satisfy these assumptions 100%. So we name this model as a naive type model. So let's start with the data set. We have the simple data set. We will use this data set to find out the conditional probability, and in this data set we have 4 input features. Outlook is there, temperature is there, humidity is there, wind is there. Okay, and this is my class, you can say output feature. We have two classes, one is the negative class and one is the positive class. You can replace n by 0 and p by 1. And each of the feature has different values. Outlook has sunny, overcast and rain. And this temperature hot, mild and cool. And humidity is high and normal, only two values. And wind is only true and false. It means it is a binary type feature. Okay. And you can just go into details of the data with respect to the assumptions. So here we are assuming that these features are independent. For example, the temperature being hot has nothing to do with the humidity, or outlook being rainy, has no effect on the winds. Secondly, each feature is giving the same weight in the output. So these are the assumptions. It is not 100% true that each of the data set will 100% satisfy these assumptions. Okay. So let's start calculating the probability, conditional probability values. So from this data set, just target this data set only. Okay. We have the outlook feature, and in the outlook we have 3 values. So output feature has 3 possible values: sunny, overcast, and rainy. For the sunny, we have 1 negative, second negative, then third negative, and just wait, sunny, 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 1p and 2p. 3 negative, 3 negative and 2 positive. So this probability we need to find out from the given data. So for the sunny case, we have 2 by 9, and for the positive case and for the negative case, it is 3 by 5 only. Because in this data set, we have 9 as the positive and 5 as negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the remaining are 9 positive. So for the positive case, you have to divide it by 9, and for the negative case, you have to divide it by 5 only. Similarly, you can find the probability value for the overcast and the third one, rain. Okay, so you can sum up these values: 3 plus 2, 5, and 2, 4, and 3, 9. Right? So you have considered all rows for your outlook value, outlook feature values, which is sunny, overcast, and rain. Similarly, you need to do the same type of calculation for the second feature and third feature, which is the humidity, and the fourth one, which is the wind. 3 by 5, 3 by 9, 3 by 5, 6 by 9, 2 by 5. Is this okay? Yes, please. यार क्या है? Okay, Aswani. नहीं मैं गरम. Yes, please. Is there any issue with this table? Okay. Let's do the next step. Okay. And you can summarize these values in the table form, so that we can use directly. And we have 2 output values, yes and no. You can say positive and negative. For the positive case, we have the probability 9 by 14, and for the negative, it is 5 by 14. So to find out this probability, you will have to use whole number of rows, and for finding this probability, you will have to follow the number of the particular class P or N, whatever you have the case. So here you have by 9 for all positive, and for all negative you have by 5. So what we want to do, basically, we want to find out the probability for this case when it is sunny, cool, high, and strong. So we have the value of 4 features. X1 should be sunny. It means our temperature outlook should be sunny, and temperature cool. And my third feature is humidity is high, and wind is strong. So we want to find out this conditional probability. So this is my X, this is my B, you can say, right? This is my, we are interested in these probabilities. Firstly, let us calculate these values. So we need to calculate this probability of yes with respect to X and probability of no with respect to X. So you can say my A is X and my B is yes or no. So this is the case here for this question. So let's use the Bayesian theorem directly for this conditional probability. So we can write probability of yes when X has happened. We can write probability of yes into probability of X with respect to yes divided by probability of X. Similarly, for the no, you can use this expression. Is this one okay? Okay, Ansal Agarwal. Okay. So let's calculate the probability. So what I have probability of yes. I need probability of yes and probability of X when yes has happened. Okay. So probability of X means I will have to find it separately. Probability of sunny, I am interested when yes case is there. Probability of temperature cool when yes is there. Probability of humidity when yes is there. And probability of strong when yes is there. So go into the table. We have this probability of yes equal to 9 by 14. And outlook and yes, it is 2 by 9. Let's check it. Outlook is sunny and it is yes, it is 2 by 9. So you can use this table directly. Okay, and we have find out all these values from the table which we calculated, right? And then we multiply it 1. So we have find out this part, basically this part, this one. Probability of yes is 9 by 14 and this is probability of X when yes is there. So आपने इनको separately निकाल के multiply करना है. Okay, and when we have the case for the no, we have probability 5 by 14 and we have here no. Okay, so sunny with no is 3 by 5. Sunny with no is 3 by 5. Okay, so the finally we will get the value of the numerator as 0.0206. And then what we need another probability also, that is probability of this one, probability independent probability, you can say probability of outlook equal to sunny, probability of temperature equal to cool, probability of humidity equal to I, and probability of wind equal to X. You can say this is our probability of X. So we need to divide this value, probability multiplied value by this probability of X. And इसके लिए आपने ऐसे निकालना है. This probability of outlook equal to sunny is for the sunny we have 5 cases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So probability of sunny is 5 by 14, right? Similarly, you can find out temperature equal to cool. It is 4 by 14. 4 by 14. Temperature equal to cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have calculated the value which we have to use as the in the denominator. Okay. So finally we will find out the probability of play equal to yes with respect to X, probability of no with respect to probability of no with respect to X again. So we will divide 0.00353 by this number and get this number, and again for the no case we have find out this probability. So which one is higher? That will be your output. So this is the higher. You can say whenever we have this case, whenever we have this data, outlook equal to sunny, cool, high and strong, game will not be there. So what we have got from the table by using the conditional probability, that game will not be there. Okay, is this okay? Numerical okay? Yes, please. Okay. Okay, Ansel. Yes, Ira Sharma. Okay. So now I will start with the programming part. So this was just a numerical only. By using the definition of probability, I covered many numerical, and I will cover one more numerical here. But firstly, we will cover the programming part basically. Which numerical I need to repeat, Visakha? Okay, Visakha, just wait, please. I am repeating this numerical. This is my data. From this data, firstly, I will find the probability of the classes. I have two classes. One is represented by P, that is positive class. You can say it is yes. And second, I have used Y here because this P will match this one only. So this, due to this reason, I have written positive class as Y and negative class as small n. Okay, so I have total 14 rows in this data set, and out of these 14 rows, and 9 rows belong to P class, first class or positive class you can say, and the remaining 5 belongs to the N class, negative type class. Okay, and then after this one we have to find out the probability for each of the feature value with respect to the class. So we'll find out the probability of Sunny with respect to P, probability of Sunny with respect to N. Okay, probability of overcast, because for the outlook feature we have 3 values: sunny, overcast, and this rain. Overcast with respect to P is 4/9, and overcast with respect to 9 we have no negative value, so its probability is 0. And for the rain we have the same case, 3/9, 2/5. Visakha, is this table okay? Yes, please. Is this table okay? Right. Okay, Visakha. So let's go ahead. So after calculating this one, what we need to look, whatever given to us. We have this condition that whenever the value of these features are of this type, we are interested whether the game will be there or game not will be there. If P is there, game will be there. N is there, no game will be there. It means negative class. So we can use Bayes theorem. So how to use this Bayes theorem? These are your classes. You have 2 classes. अगर आपके पास 3 classes होती है, then you need 3 probability here. Okay, probability of X, when probability of yes when X has happened. I need to calculate this one. In the second part, we need to calculate probability of no when X has happened. So we can directly write by using the theorem probability of X into probability of X when yes is there, divided by probability of this one, probability of X. Similarly, for no, we can write it here. Okay, then we need to find out this probability of yes and the conditional probability of each of the feature with respect to this particular class, which is yes. This is the probability of yes, that is first class, and these are the probabilities which we have calculated when yes class is there. What are the chances, what are the probabilities of these features? Outlook is sunny. So for this purpose you can use this table directly, right? Yes, please. Is it similar Similar case, you need to repeat for the second class, which is no class. 5 by 14 is the probability of this no class, and we have the conditional probabilities of these feature values with respect to this no class, and multiply this and getting this one. Then in the last, we have to calculate the simple probability for each of the feature. What is the probability when outlook is sunny? You go into the table, count the value rows for the sunny values, which are 5 in this data set. So 5 by 14 is the probability of this one. Similarly, you have to repeat the same procedure for the second feature, third feature, and the fourth feature, or multiply it to find out the final value and divide those values which we got by using the previous operations by this value. Okay, and then which probability is higher, the output will be of that class only. Okay, is this okay? Okay, Visakha, thank you. Dr. Amit, sir, I am taking 5-minute break.
Sir, 5 minute 10 minutes break दीजिए sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
We can reconnect at 6:05, huh?
Okay, sir. Okay, surely, sir. Thanks.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
हाँ sir, please continue, sir. Dr. Kasana, we can start, sir. Hello, Dr. Kasana. So can we start? Dear participant, I will share quiz link on our chat box at 6:58. So be there. Thank you.
So how much time we'll get?
Sir, I will update the attachment. Dear participants, abhi Dr. Kasana ke like at the end of Dr. Kasana, there's a electricity problem, so he will rejoin soon. And guys, we will get 15 minutes to finish our quiz. So I will share with you a link at 6:58, and you have to click on that particular Google form, and you have to start filling your information, and then ultimately you will get some question and you have to respond over there.
Sir, how many questions?
No so much query yaar. 10 questions se zyada kya hoga sahab?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Let's have some surprise yaar. Let's have some surprise. Hello. Dear participants, there's a new announcement. We have to conduct quiz within 5 minutes. Dr. Kasana is having some electricity cut over there, and he's unable to connect with us within for next 10 minutes. So you guys are going to have 15 minutes quiz. Uh, okay. Should we start quiz right now, sir? Should I share the link? Okay, within 2 minutes, I'm going to share with you link of quiz, and you can see the chat box right now. You can see the chat box. The information is coming.
जी डॉक्टर अमित
अरे डॉक्टर कसाना भी आ गया सर. He is here.
Sir, I am available. So what to do, sir?
Yes, sir. Should we start right now or should we start later on?
Sir, if you say then I can continue my lecture. Otherwise, it's your choice, sir.
Dr. Mukesh.
Okay, Kasana ji, as per your own wish.
Okay,
Finish your
sir.
class.
Then I am starting my lecture, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine, sir. Great.
Okay, sir.
Done,
Thank
sir.
you, Kasana ji. Thank you, Kasana ji. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, please.
Sir, then when will be the quiz be conducted?
Sir, jaldi hi quiz hoga. As soon as Dr. Kasana finishes session, within 2 minutes. After finishing the session, we'll start our quiz probably at 6:58. Kasana sir, could you finish
Yes,
your
please.
session around 6:55?
Just yes, I will try, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Is this screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay. So let's implement this AFS model in Python by taking this data set. So our first step will be to load the data set, and we have the data set in data sets part of the library. So we imported data sets, and then we can store this data set into our another variable. You can say it is my data set only. You can give any name. If I have df here, then data set equal to data sets dot load underscore iris. So now our data set has been stored in this data frame, which is df. Okay. So you can take the input data from this df, which is stored in the data itself. And y we can pick it up df dot target. So you can just check it by printing these two data. Okay, it is df, sorry. So this is my x data, and in the second part I have the y data, which is the output data. So as all know, we have 3 classes in this data set and 150 records, and each of the class has 50 rows. So total 5 columns are there. 4 are of the input type and 1 is the output type. Okay. So our second part will be to call the model, to call the particular model, which is in this library sklearn dot nav underscore base BAYES. So after importing the name of the model is Gaussian NB. So we need to create this object. Object, we know how to create the object. We include the constructor of this class. So we have created the model. Now, as we know, we need to divide the data into 4 parts. One part is X training and Y training, and then X test and Y test. Suppose my X part is the X underscore train and X underscore test. These are the variable names only. You can give any variable name. And for this purpose, we need to include the required library, which is in the sklearn dot model underscore selection. Import train underscore test underscore split method. So just use this method to divide the data into these parts, X train and X test and Y train. So we need to specify the size of the testing data. Suppose I am taking it 30%, and the last parameter which I would like to include random state equal to, for example, it is 42. Okay. So if I execute this block and I want to print any part of this splitting, just to check it. So this is my training part of the input features. Okay. So now what I need to do, I need to fit the model. For this one, we have model dot fit method. And for the fit method, what we need to pass? We need to pass the training part only. X underscore train and Y underscore train. I hope this point is clear to everyone. Okay. So at this point we have fitted the model. Right. So now we can make the prediction by using this fitted model and can store the data into some variable. I have given the name predicted as the variable. Model dot predict. But I need to pass to this one X part of our test data. Okay, so we have got the predicted data and stored in this predicted variable. So this is my predicted data. First is the first class, one class. This is 0 class and second class. Okay. So now we can check the accuracy. Just directly we can check the accuracy. To check the accuracy, I have included it in the previous program also. sklearn matrix. From sklearn import matrix, and in the matrix we have a method confusion matrix, confusion underscore matrix. So what we need to pass to this one, Y underscore test and the predicted data. So let's store this matrix in some variable which is suppose MC. Then we can print this MC by passing it to the print method. Okay, so this is the confusion matrix. You can say it is providing us a very good score, right? 12 just one sample has been predicted wrongly. Out of this 45 samples because we have taken 30% data as the testing data. And if you want to print a classification report, you can do it. For this purpose, we have the classification underscore report method. Okay, so this is the overall classification report. What is the precision for this class, for the second class, for the third class? This is the precision data, and this is the recall value. This is the F1 score, and this is the sport. Sport means how many samples? 19 plus 13 plus 13, that is 45. So total samples are 45. And we have the accuracy here, direct accuracy. We have two type of accuracy. One is the macro average accuracy, and second one is the weighted one. For the weighted one, what this method does, it assigns weights to each of the class. Okay, and many times there may be some small difference in the macro average of the accuracy as well as the weighted average of the accuracy due to the weights. Okay, and weights most of the time they are given according to the numbers. Okay, so you can say this is your general accuracy in which the weights are equally assigned to each of the class. So this is our simple naive-Bayes method. I have just called this library only. Gaussian NB, created the object, fit the data to it one, and predicted only this one. But internally, what it is doing, it is doing the same step which we covered in the numerical. It is calculating the accuracy, probability of each of the class. It is calculating the conditional probability, and then it is calculating the probability, final probability corresponding to each of the class by using the Bayes theorem. Okay, right. So let's try some other concept also, which is a very good concept, and then after it we will implement the same concept in the Python. So the point is model selection. Okay, so let's start this model selection. This is a very important topic basically. As you might have noted, we have many models for the regression purpose. We have many models for the classification purpose. So which model we need to use for our problem, for our new data set? This point I am going to discuss in this part of the lecture. I will start with the basic points related to the selection of the models. This is the fitting in the machine learning model. So what do we mean by a fit? A fit refers to how well you approximate a target function. Is this are these four words clear to everyone? Approximating a target function. What do we mean by approximating a target function? What we are approximating basically? Yes. Prediction model. In what sense, Ashwani? Devrat, what do you mean? Estimate value of the output on the basis of input. But Shreya, your answer is partially right, but I am interested in mathematical definition. predicting the y test value on the basis of x values. It Shikha, it is also partially correct. What answer I want, basically you should target this word function. Function input equal to no. This is Tavishi, this is the error. This is not a function, this is the error basically. Oh, we want to minimize the error. Mario, approach is okay, but basically what we want to get. Yeah, this is the answer, y equal to fx. We are interested in this one, in this approximation, y equal to fx, where this capital X is the set of input variables. Okay, this is the approach basically how to approximate this one. Samanpreet Kaur, this is the approach basically to find out the difference and then minimize it. But our target is, our objective is to find this function. It means we want to find out the relationship between x and the y. Okay. So how a good fit, tell us how well this approximation is. So we say an approximation is fit whenever we are getting a good prediction by using this function. Just for the case of simplicity, if we are taking the example of linear regression, we are finding out beta naught and beta 1. Okay. So if we say we have a good fit, it means these are the values which are satisfying the given data, so that it can give a good prediction for the unseen data. Anu, it's okay. Yeah. This answer is also good. Anu, how well it can simulate target function, actually trying to find out the actual function used. Good, right? So another point is overfitting. What do we mean by the overfitting? Overfitting is our model is fitting well for the training data, while for the testing data its performance is not same as the performance of test training data. So you can say for the testing data, if the accuracy is less in comparison of the testing for the training data, we will say the model is overfitted, right? If you have the training data, you give the training, you approximated the function, and then you find out the accuracy for the training part, you will get a good accuracy. And whenever you test your model for the unseen data, your accuracy is not same as like the accuracy for the training data, then we will say the model is overfit, right? For example, if the accuracy for the training part is 95% and for the testing part it is 75%, so what you will say? You will say that your model is overfit. Okay. And the third term is underfit. Underfit means neither model is estimating the training part nor the testing part. So the accuracy is not good for the both parts. Then you can say your data is underfit, your model is underfit only. So one point you can add to this discussion: goodness of the fit refers to how closely a model's predicted values match the actual values, basically. How closely these two sets are matching. One set is the actual set and second one is the predicted set. Okay. So we have the if we have the poor performance in the machine learning model, just wait, let me to complete this part first. So we can say if the model has the poor performance, it means there may be the reason of overfitting or underfitting, right? So we'll have to look into the performance for the overfitting as well as for the underfitting also. So we have one more technical term, generalization. It is how well the concepts learned by a machine learning model apply to the specific examples not seen by the model when it was learned, when it was learning. So we also call this concept as the generalization. This is the part which we are discussing from the starting. Okay, it means you need to check your data, you need to check your model for the unseen data, and that concept technically is known as generalization. It is nothing, I have told it many times, but the name is new to you. Generalization. Generalization means your model must fit for the unseen data also. It must perform very well for the new data. Unseen data means new data, the data which is not used in the training part. Okay. So what is our objective? To have a good machine learning is to generalize well from the training data to any data, the problem domain. Yes, please. Okay. So there are the two main causes for the poor performance of your model. One is the overfitting and second one is the underfitting. So how we can detect overfitting? So what we basically do, we divide our data into at least two parts. One is the training part and second one is the testing part. Okay, which we are doing from the very beginning. So what we do basically, you all know, I hope, we train the model on this part and check its accuracy on this second part. One issue can be there, the tuning issue. What percentage we need to have in the testing part and the remaining in the training part? So this is one issue. If we have a small data, we can have 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, in this way, 90-10. But if our data is a very bulky data, then we need to keep 99% data as the training data, 1% data as the testing data, and many times if we have many million records, we can increase the training part further 99.5 and only 0.5 as a testing data, because in this case training will take a lot of time, right? So firstly we'll train the model by selecting the parameters, or you can say by tuning the parameter, and then you will run for a lot of training data, and then finally you will get a model, and when you have the model in your hand, you can use that model for this remaining part. Okay, so one approach by using which we can decide the model is the cross validation. Okay, so we can take a preventive measure against this overfitting concept. So the approach is, one approach is the cross validation. So what we do in the cross validation, this is my complete data basically. These parts, these segments are of the data, right? So what we need to do, we need to define a number which you can take as a k, and we will divide, for example, if k is 10, then we will divide the complete data into 10 segments. Okay, and we will take one segment as the testing data and remaining 9 segments as the training data. So firstly we will take this segment as the testing segment. So in second iteration we will take this segment as the second testing part, and then we will use this one for the testing, then this one in the next iteration, then this one. So we will continue till k equal to 10. Okay, and then we will find out the accuracy for each of the k, right? So you can say for this type of approach, we are using each part of the data as a training data and each part of the data as a testing data. And by taking the mean of the accuracy for each of the k, we can say the overall accuracy of the model will be like this one. Okay, so you can execute this cross validation part by taking different models. So let's start with the programming part for this one also. Just wait. So what we have done here, we have taken the same data which I mailed to you people. Let's copy paste directly to save the time. Okay, so this is my customer.csv. It has 4 features: gender, age, salary and purchased. So and it has 2 classes. If I remove the add part, then you can check it. Okay, this is my overall data, right? And then what I will do, okay. Right. So I have taken, I have created a object of linear regression and just wait, bachcho. And second object which I would like to create is of KNN, K nearest neighbor classifier, K neighbors classifier, right? And I have passed the number of neighbors as 5 only. So right, so let's clear it one by one. So in the first statement, it is same thing, nothing new to you all. We have imported the logistic regression class and then created its object, right? And in the third statement, we have imported the K neighbors classifier and then created its object with the number of neighbors as 5, right? We have created this object in OBJ and the first one is in LR. Then we have a method for the cross validation and this method is the part of model underscore selection library. So this is our method and this method takes model object which is OBJ for the first case and this is our input data, this is our output data. So we are not passing any separately testing and training, right? We are just passing X data which is our input data and Y data as the output data. And this CV means how many segments we want to create of this data. It means I want K equal to 10. It means my data will be segmented into 10 parts equally and each of the part will be taken as a testing data. So you can say this model will execute on this X and Y for 10 times. And what is the criteria of scoring? That is the accuracy, right? So you can observe that for the same data, the OBJ is our KNN is providing 86% accuracy, while the logistic regression is providing 71%, more than 71% accuracy, right? So if I execute it again, what I am getting here, I am getting 10 outputs. This is the accuracy for K equal to 1. This is accuracy for K equal to 2. Accuracy for K equal to 3. So we are getting for 10 accuracies. Okay. And same 10 accuracies for the second model. Is it okay? And if you want to see the Mean of this one, you can do it. This is the mean of the accuracy provided by the first model, which is KNN model. So by executing different models on your data, you can find out which model is the best fitted model to your data. Right? And you can vary this number to check what is the effect on the accuracy. So 4 equal to K. For KNN 4 equal to K, its accuracy is 63 only. So for this N, there is the big difference of around 8% accuracy. Right? So by using this concept, you can find out which model is best suited to your data set. Okay? Is it okay? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Okay. And let me to clear one more point, which was of right. Just wait, bachcho. Geeta, this is the answer to your query. Yes, please, Geeta.
Yes, sir.
You can execute these statements only. Just wait, please. So I imported iris data set. क्या error है इसमें? Okay, PD. कहाँ रह गया यार? Okay. Right. So Geeta, we have taken 3 frames here: DF1, DF2, DF3. DF1 is of the first class, that is for the 0 class, and this DF2 for the class 1, and this DF3 for the class 3. So your query was how to concatenate these 3 classes basically. Am I right? So if I print DF1, then print DF2, if print DF3, then you can check it. So my first class belong to this DF1 is from the class number 1. That is the first type of the flowers. And this is for class number DF2 for the class number 2. Because 1 to 50 we have the class 0, 50 to 51 to 100 we have the class 2, and 101 to 150 we have the class number 3. Okay. So by using this is just simple, this one only, you can concatenate your data set. And for the concatenation purpose, I have a method in pandas which is, and if we print this fr, okay. There is some issues with these classes, but I don't know what is the issue, but we can concatenate by using this approach. You just put one part of the one class into one variable, one data frame variable, second in the second one, and third in the third one, and then just use this syntax to concatenate the data, and to pass this variable to the concat method. You can directly put it here like this. So now you can concatenate any number of classes. So you can pass this data to your model, which we covered in last lecture. I think in yesterday lecture. So by using this concept, you will have different class in the FR. Because at you might be remembering from 1 to 50, we have class 0. Okay. So I have picked up first 4 rows and all columns. And in the second data frame, we have picked second type of the class. And in the third part of this one, we have class number 3. Okay, so this is the iris data set. So you can combine by using this syntax only. Okay.
हेलो हाँ जी सर
Yes, please. Yes.
हाँ सर अगर वाई में मतलब डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल में अगर मल्टी क्लासेस हो इन स्पाइट ऑफ 0 and 1
हाँ तो इसमें मल्टी तो है 0 1 2 है ना हमारे पास
सर आउटपुट के लिए भी ऐसे ही लेना है हमें
हाँ आपने जो डेटा पास करना है वो ऐसे ही पास करना है ना आउटपुट तो मॉडल बताएगा हमें आउटपुट को भी आप ऐसे डिवाइड कर सकते हो लास्ट कॉलम को लेके ये मैंने सारे कॉलम लिए हैं उसमें आप लास्ट ले लो -1 लगा दो यहाँ पर ऐसे तो लास्ट कॉलम आ जाएगा आप इसी तरह सेपरेट कर दो
ओके सर
आपने कैलकुलेट करना है इसको one question is there from Geeta Kochar only. Sir, cross validation has to be applied after pre-processing. Yes, Geeta. Cross validation is the concept which is doing the training itself and doing the testing itself, and whatever pre-processing your data set need, whatever pre-processing steps are required for your data set, you have to apply it before applying the cross validation. I have not applied any pre-processing, but whatever pre-processing is required for your data set, you have to apply. For example, if you want to do feature scaling, you do it before passing the data to the feature scaling, right? Before passing it to the cross validation method, which is the, I think its name is cross_val_score. This is the method which is doing cross validation itself. What you require, you need to pass the object name, that is model name, input data, output data, how many segments you want to create, and whatever your matrix is, scoring equal to accuracy or scoring equal to some other like just F1 score or whatever you have precision like this, you can pass in the scoring parameter. Is it okay? Yes, please. Cross validation is a very important concept basically. It might be you know the model, but you don't know which model will fit to your data set. So you can do cross validation. Dr. Amit.
Sir. Ji, sir.
My part is complete.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Let me connect with Dr. Mukesh and we'll start with.
So may.
Yeah.
May I do, sir?
Do you have any question? You can raise question to Dr. Kasana. Otherwise, we will start within 5 minutes. And you can ask your friends, those who were attending the workshop, for some reason they're not attending it, ask them to join for quiz, so that based upon this quiz will which is a parameter of giving you certificate. So please ask them to join it. So within 5 minutes we'll start quiz. Okay. And Dr. Kasana, thank you very much, sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Guys, I'm going to share a Google link. You have to click on this, then you will end up on Google form where you are going to answer the questions. So within 3 minutes, I'm going to send you this link. Have patience. It's going to be very easy. Thank you. Dear participants, there is an announcement. Today we are going to conduct our first quiz, and there will be another quiz in coming days. And tomorrow we are going to allocate you a small project. So by 4th of October, you are going to apply. It's going to be a very easy project basically. And tomorrow I'm going to give you more brief about this particular project, how we are going to conduct it. So right now I'm just going to share with you today's quiz link. You can refer this. I already shared with you. You can see in chat box, and please attempt your quiz. Thank you very much. So that
yes, sir, we can see. Sir.
I just put yes in the chat box so that we can see accordingly that. Open the link and attempt your question, and you can leave this session. All the best to everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, sir, there is no option for ME students for the branch selection.
Okay, beta, do not worry. Just write ME and within bracket your branch in your branch and stream field. Is that fine?
Hello, sir. Sir, where is the link?
Beta, just posted by Dr. Amit in the chat box. Just scroll through the chat box.
I was disconnected earlier, so I'm not able to find
I just put it again. Just click on that.
Okay. दोबारा से देखो बेटा एक बार. And do not panic at all. All the participants are please requested again and again. Do not panic. Do not take any tension. ठीक है. Link is there till 7:15. 7:15 तक बेटा लिंक ओपन है. अटेम्प्ट करो पूरी ईमानदारी से. Do not try to cheat at all. हमें नहीं चीट करोगे आप अपने आप को बेटा खुद से चीट करोगे. We really want to have an holistic picture what you actually are gaining from this workshop, from this course. Yogita, please check it out. There is no such problem at all. The site can't be reached. This is a link containing 2 lines. Copy them both and paste it in your Explorer. Yogita, are you able to open it?
So should we stop the recording right now? I think so.
Yes, you may stop it.